Continuing a run of great matchups in the fourth quarter of 2021, we have Kid Galahad versus Kiko Martinez and Jaime Munguia versus Gabriel Rosado this upcoming Saturday right here on Dazn. Next week, the focus shifts back to Las Vegas. Terence Crawford, regarded as one of the best fighters in the world, getting the A-class opposition he's been yearning for against Showtime's Shawn Porter. On Wednesday, Shawn Porter took part in a virtual press conference to discuss his thoughts entering the showdown.
Had a conversation with someone, I won't tell you who it was, but they were saying you need to go get that fight with Terence. And I said, I don't want to be the first guy that he fights who people consider to be elite. And the reason why is because the worst is more than likely going to happen to him. And then everyone's going to look at him like he's not who he is. Terence Crawford is an elite boxer. He's a great boxer. And I think that, you don't want that first showing to be against one of the best elite boxers in the world. And it just happens to be the case with this fight. So, I think that while everyone's like, all right, we finally get to see him against one of the best, they're not going to get what they're used to seeing out of Terence Crawford. I will also say this. Terence Crawford has never been in the ring with a fighter as confident, as poised, and as excited as I'm going to be on fight night.
Unfortunately, Terence Crawford had some technical difficulties and he could not make the presser. But Shawn Porter had to throw some shots at him. He tweets, "Heard Bud wasn't able to make it on with the media today. Some say that's a 10-8 round for me. Also heard that the first press conference was a 10-9 round for me. More rounds to come." So Barack, he's saying that he's already winning before the fight has even started. Now, the first press conference, I would say is 50-50, maybe because Shawn came in with the vest and no shirt on, showing that he was in shape. I guess some can say maybe they'll sway his way if you were judging a press conference. But Bud is the type of guy who he is, in and outside the ring. Well, in the ring, he's a little meaner, but at the presser, what do you expect from Bud Crawford? He's not going to do any backflips and curse you out. It's just who he is. He's really quiet. He waits to the fight. So if that's important to him, Barack, I think he needs to be more focused on what's going to happen in the ring.
Showing the scoring rounds already. Hey, listen, it is important with some fights and with some fighters, and that's when the psychological games begin. In the press conference, usually, the weigh-in and things like that. Guys like Mike Tyson want to intimidate his opponents and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. But when it comes to Terence Crawford, I don't think hardly anything works. I remember Hank Lundy got him upset talking about his wife, and he paid for it in the ring. But that's the only time I've probably seen Bud like that. Any other time, Bud just really doesn't care. But it's just good to see Shawn Porter motivated like that. Before, you would never get this out of Shawn Porter, a jab or two. I believe it started with maybe Keith Thurman, when Keith Thurman said he dresses better. All of a sudden, Shawn lost his mind. They almost fought each other. I had to pull them apart,
Barack, on a serious note, though, I think some people might be overlooking Shawn Porter. There's no question. Well, in my opinion, I think Shawn Porter would be Bud's biggest test. Maybe. Because, remember, styles make fights. There are other fighters out there that maybe might be more difficult for Terence in terms of style. Maybe Shawn Porter might be right in front of him and might be ideal for him. Who knows? We won't know until the matchup, until they fight. But if you think about success and Shawn Porter's resume and who he's been in the ring with, you would have to say it's the biggest test. Do you think people are overlooking Shawn for this fight?
No, I don't think so. But of course, it's definitely his biggest test. Think about it. This guy went toe-to-toe with Terence Crawford, and it was a very close fight.
Well, with Errol Spence, you mean?
Yes, I meant to say Errol Spence. Thank you. And Shawn is that kind of guy. You hit him with everything, he's not gonna stop. So yes, this is gonna be his toughest test, no matter what, whether he's right in front of him or not. Shawn is right in front of everybody, and he's still tough for everybody.
I do agree with what Shawn said in the presser in regards to if he were to lose to Shawn Porter, he would get a lot of heat for that. And people they'll say he can't compete with the PBC welterweight. They'll throw shots at his opponents, the guys he beat at welterweight, like the Jeff Horns of the world, and he won't get the credit he deserves. He is an elite fighter. Now, I don't know if he loses to Shawn, but I see Shawn's point. So, if anything, if he were to beat Shawn, then he automatically just dives right into the elite top level welterweight. Then what would they say after that? Will they say that, oh, Shawn's been in a lot of fights, he is past his prime, he is focused on broadcasting and being a boxing analyst? What will they say if Crawford gets past Shawn Porter? That's the question.
There's never a shortage of haters, and there's never a shortage of people with negative comments. I think both statements are true, what you said and what Shawn said. And it's amazing that Shawn even said that statement, because that sounded like genuine concern for a fellow fighter. Like, you know, I feel like I'm going to beat Terence, and it's bad because if I beat him, then they're going to say, well, he never accomplished anything at welterweight, and he was never really elite, and people are talking about Terence Crawford record, you know, badly anyway. Meanwhile, I believe Terence Crawford has a good record. Terence Crawford is undefeated. Terence Crawford is a champion in 3 different weight divisions. He has an 8 knockout streak, and he's the most dominant, one of the most dominant guys in boxing besides Canelo and Gervonta Davis. And he's beating people convincingly since forever. There are no close fights for Terence Crawford, and he's fighting everybody available. It's not his fault he hasn't gotten the top guys in 147 yet, but now's the time, and now he gets to prove whether he's great or not.
And I think the cops are coming to get him for what he did to Hank Lundy at the Garden, Barack.
No, that's what happens when you film in Brooklyn.